G'day, it's Toby again. I wanted to get on another live, so I'm going to be doing these every fortnight on a Wednesday, 7 p.m. So make sure you stay tuned. Tonight, I wanted to run over the building process. So this is going to be like part one of a few. And this is the initial steps before turning the soil on site. So a few months ago, I decided to make a brochure about these steps because I had a lot of questions surrounding that, and the common question that's asked of me, can you provide a quote on a new home or an extension or something like that, and we need a whole heap of information before we can go ahead and give you those sort of pricings. One-off trades, it can be fairly straightforward. It's just a simple square meter rate, point rate, all those sort of things. But when it comes to building a complete structure that has multiple trades and materials involved, and a prolonged process, you have to have all this information put together in a neat and tidy contract that everyone can be on the same page and sign off on. So I thought I'd start off by talking about step one of the 7. So design. So this sort of thing can be done, by yourself or a builder or a draftsperson, architect. Sometimes when you're looking at a particular thing or you're wanting something in particular, it can be good to get a whole heap of ideas of what you'd like in what you want in your home, and comprise them all together. Now, those things can be obviously your own personal taste, but that could also be things that you've seen that could potentially be a way to reduce costs and that. So you provide your sketches and layouts, some photos and things, and you would bring them obviously to a draftsperson or a builder or yourself and sketch them all up. So that's the initial design stage. Then step 2 is preliminary drawings. So again, that can be done by a builder or a draftsperson depending on the programs that they're using. But you can bring all those ideas together into a customized plan and set that up. So that's a good one to do. That will usually include a site plan, a floor plan, elevations, sectional views, and sometimes some 3D aspects. Now, with that, you can actually then go off and get other things done with that. So sometimes some estimate costings can be done by builders on that information, or you can go ahead and use that information to go and get what would be in step 3. So in step 3, I have got it titled Revision, Review, and Reports. So in this stage, this is where we would send off for the soil testing. We'd send off to the engineer for his structural drawings and things like that. We would, if we need to engage a town planner, or we need to go to a covenant and make sure we can get their tick of approval or any last minute changes. You may even have to send it off to energy efficiency for the type of cladding that you're going to put on the outside to ensure that you're meeting your correct star rating values. A few of the other places would be surveyor, asbestos removalists, so that you guys can indicate on those initial plans where all that is. Possibly a plumber, depending on the drainage required on the property, if you're on acreage or you have a special requirement for drainage on your gutters and roofing and things like that. And possibly a quantity surveyor. So if you're doing something that's really architectural and you're wanting possibly to get multiple tenders, a quantity surveyor can help you really divvy up exactly where the costs are going to be, and then you can then send that out so that your scope is exact, and everyone can sort of quote apples for apples. So another good one there in that initial stage is also to put it past a private certifier, so they can check those overlays that we spoke about in the last episode, which I'll have a link below at the end of the at the end of this video to that one for if you haven't watched it yet. And then obviously your electrician as well can do their layouts and things like that. And that, so that's in step 3. Step 4 is the structural plan. So gathering all that information that we've got from all those other qualified people, we would then take that information and have it put and condensed into a set of plans. Now, some builders will just have that separate quotes in the form of an appendix with different plans and that. But then depending on the architect and the designer, they sometimes incorporate all that information from the cabinet maker, from the electrician, from the plumbing, from the elevations and surveying, and gets it all put into one big set of working drawings. It's really up to the preference of those people or the builder. Personally, I use on different jobs, it requires different amounts of paperwork. So step 5, we then get a formal amount of information that we can quote on. So a full set of plans, and we then utilize all the information that we've been given to obviously cut out those assumptions that I spoke about in the last video, and we can then quote on what is then given to us in the form of a free quote. So right up till that point, you're paying for all these different services, either from the builder or the draftsman or all the other trades that have to be involved initially to get all that information together. But then once it gets to that final point, then it can be tendered out in that format. Obviously, if you're speaking to different builders, like myself, I'd like to usually give the information from the start about copyrights and all those sort of things. So best to talk to each builder independently about that and their processes to avoid all those sort of things and to allow you to own your own plans. You've got to do this entire process yourself and be coordinating everything independently so that you can have it tendered out and not be breaching any copyrights. But worth always speaking to the people that you're dealing with to find out those that sort of information. So once the quote has been given to you by a few builders, then you're able to then take that information and take it to the bank, which is number 6, step 6. So depending on the bank, or if you're financing it yourself, it should be fine. But if you need to go through a bank, sometimes they will then require further information. So you'll have to select the builder, you'll have to pay deposits, they will have to then engage certain trades like Certifier and pay their different insurances like QBC insurance, Q-Leave, depending on how big the job is. And that all then has to be then brought together to the bank. Step 7, just before we're about to start, there's obviously the contracts and things like that also need, banks sometimes need that as well. So it's sort of those last 2 steps are where those final things need to be done for it to all come together and start going. So yeah, this is sort of the initial thing. I mean, obviously there's a lot more information in those steps that when my clients come in and we can discuss that. I've also got, if you're interested, send us a message or comment below for the link to the brochure that I made up. And if you have anyone that you can think of that might need it just for their own projects, by all means, you can have it. If you haven't already, but I am obviously wanting to do these more often. The content is going to vary about building and maintenance and all that sort of stuff. So if you like what you see, I'm going to be putting all these videos onto YouTube. So if you jump on there, you can subscribe. I'll also have a few videos in the link here where you guys can view some of the other things that I've been working on. Yeah, be sure to comment or below anything that you did like about tonight and anything else that you want to know. I'm open to answering questions and making it a focused topic for the next video. So be sure to ask away, and I'll be certainly putting that on in the future. All right. Well, have a good Wednesday night. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in a fortnight. Bye.